In previous videos, we looked at the significance of Venus in Bible prophecy. The sun is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, Psalm 19:4 and 5. Jesus is the bridegroom. Jesus is the morning star, Revelation 22:16. The morning star represented Venus in ancient times. Therefore, according to the Bible, Jesus is represented by both the sun and the planet Venus. In Job 9:9, we're told God made the constellations. The word chambers refers to the constellations, as is evident by comparing Job 9:9, King James, and New International translations. Therefore, Psalm 19 is telling us that the sun bridegroom comes out of a constellation. Jesus was born out of a virgin, Matthew 1:23. The constellation Virgo is a virgin. So the Bible is telling us the Son will be born out of Virgo in Psalm 19:4 and 5 and Matthew 1. The sign described in Revelation 12:1 through 5 involved the Sun in Virgo on October 16th, 2012. This sign occurs before the escape of the woman in Revelation 12, verse 6. The woman in verse 6 represents Judea. In ancient Judea, the symbol for the Venus passage cycle was carved in stone along with the letters spelling the word Jerusalem in ancient Hebrew. In the end time, those who escape are represented as the woman who flies to safety in verse 14. This safe place is where the throne is, where the eagles gather in heaven. Revelation 7:9 through 17, Luke 17:37, and Matthew 24:31. This is New Jerusalem, the holy city in heaven. Revelation 21:2. The ancient Judea connection between Jerusalem and the Venus passage cycle seems to refer to New Jerusalem in heaven because of the reference to 144. The wall of the heavenly New Jerusalem is 144 cubits, Revelation 21:17, and every time Venus passes Earth, it shifts 144 degrees. A new Venus passage cycle started in 2012, the same year that the biblical sign occurred. Some authors believe the Venus passage in 2012 was prophesied in the Egyptian texts, which we have seen run parallel to the biblical prophecies. The prophecies in the Egyptian texts talk about a cataclysm and a rescue, while also depicting a celestial object in the horns of Taurus, which we can see is the exact place Venus transited the sun in 2012. The sign in Bible prophecy occurred when the sun crossed the birth canal line of Virgo at the exact moment the moon reached the feet of Virgo, while the dragon Saturn was waiting to devour. In 2018, Venus will pass Earth in front of the backdrop of the constellation Virgo. The exact date of this passage can be viewed in astronomy software by examining the reflection of the sun on Venus. You can see the reflection goes dark starting on October 22nd, 2018. This is because the sun is directly behind Venus. This is the exact moment that Venus passes Earth with the sun in the background and Virgo behind the sun. On a close-up of Venus, you can see a tiny sliver of reflection of the sun on the right side of Venus, which moves up and over to the left side of Venus. If we examine this, we can see it lasts exactly from October 22nd to October 29th. This is the exact date of ancient Passover as observed in the Southern Hemisphere. It is also the time of ancient tabernacles in the Northern Hemisphere. But what is more amazing than that, when we view this passage of Venus from the Southern Hemisphere perspective, we can see that Venus is literally passing above the sun, which means it is passing above Earth. So on the exact dates of ancient Passover in the southern hemisphere, Venus, representing Jesus, will pass over the earth in Virgo. And this is happening at the start of the 7th year from the ancient sign in 2012. So think about it. The ancient Egyptian prophecy says to look at the Venus transit in June of 2012, the transit that starts in the horns of the bull. At the same time, the Bible says to look at the passage of the sun in Virgo in October 2012. Then 4 passes later, Venus passes Earth when the sun is in Virgo, just before the completion of the cycle, at the start of the 7th year from the sign, just before their pentagram is completed. Could this represent the true time of the Passover, the literal passing over of the celestial object representing Jesus, the time of the escape from Egypt? Is it possible that these ancient writings attributed to Egypt actually came from the same people who escaped from Egypt later, the ones who wrote the biblical texts? Could that explain why both texts describe the same future events? Why did they highlight the Venus passage? Why did they say Jesus is Venus and the sun? Does this have something to do with a meeting between Venus and the sun? The actual passage of Venus with the sun in the constellation Virgo at the end of the 70-year prophecy in Jeremiah. The full passage of Venus starts when Venus is at the birth canal line of Virgo on September 1st, 2018, and ends when Venus reaches the feet of Virgo on December 24th, 2018, Christmas Eve. Could this time period from September to December 2018 represent something significant, something that was prophesied long ago? Only time will tell. For more information about the ancient biblical prophecy fulfillments, you can see the playlist linked here. For more information on how these prophecies connect to the Egyptian texts, you can see the link here. Thank you to those who have made this work possible. If you like this video and want to see more like it, please consider providing support using the link in the description below this video. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you next week.